This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Just waiting for others to join. I
Yeah,
think
Rohan,
it's
I just want to ask a
Hmm?
question.
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
will we get any, kind of assignment or a kind of real object, but like demo?
See, whatever scenario we are doing, it's a simulation of a real-time project.
Yeah,
So this is what you do in a actual project. You
yeah,
do
true.
the
Yeah,
integration, setup, and we have taken examples from not the same, but similar examples from an already implemented projects. Like this is for a pump. We are
mhm.
discussing some layout, some bill of materials, some materials, the list of materials involved. So whatever we are doing, it's basically we are mimicking how you would work in an actual project.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I think we have enough participants now, so we can get started. So recap of what we covered yesterday. Yesterday we understood about the RF framework. We spent time in understanding the ITS link, uh, how we can access RF through browser. We did execute um, some Fury. We did execute something on the Fury as well yesterday. So we started first with understanding how the menu management works, how we can influence the menus based on user roles. We can remove unwanted RF transactions, or we can add custom RF transaction. We spoke about verification management, how we can control which fields are proposed for verification, considering the proper balance between the time taken for an order to be confirmed, plus what data is required to be actually confirmed by users to tell the system that they have executed the process. So these are the two main configurations from the RF perspective, which a functional consultant is expected to deliver or configure. Then we also spoke about the screens, how the screens are built, and our role during testing of RF screens in implementation projects. Then we moved towards the reporting bit where we covered warehouse monitor. In the warehouse monitor, we spoke about a central reporting tool which gives you all operational information about what is the number of tasks open and which tasks are open, physical inventory documents. It gives you queue information, master data information, delivery related information. So very extensive tool. We prefer using that against other actual other regular transactions. Then we also basically spoke about the KPIs, how the KPIs are tracked, and we have a new Fury KPI transaction, which is warehouse KPI. The Fury app basically will give us, some pre-built Fury apps using which we can track all the warehouse, important KPIs like number of deliveries open, number of tasks open per activity, and so on. We also spoke about Easy Graphical Framework, which is another tool. It's mostly a GUI based, which gives us similar information, but they have to be we have to be developed. But whereas KPI in S4 is something which you get out of the box. Okay, so this way, yesterday we completed our unit 3. Now we are going to start unit 4. In unit 4, we are going to discuss about inbound processing. Then we are going to discuss about the availability group concept. We spoke about availability group, and then we each said we'll cover it in more detail during our integration. We maintained a availability group for our plant store location combination. Now we'll go in more detail with the availability group. Then QI and ERP quality management. We'll speak about the quality integration, how EWM integrates with quality, how inspection lots are created, usage decisions are given, and what are the different variants in terms of integrating with quality management. Then we have been looking at our inbound deliveries as of now, and we are doing the good receipt and putaways. The putaways are going to not going anywhere. Basically, we are manually pushing them into a particular bin. So in an actual project, no user is going to go on desktop and direct a product to a particular bin. There are something called as strategies using which system finds an appropriate bin for put away. It depends on the process, it depends on the product, it depends on the warehouse layout and many other things, which resources handling, all those things. So what kind of pallet we are handling. So we'll discuss about what are the factors which influence put away, and we are going to set up those strategies for a warehouse so that when we put away the stock, system finds an appropriate bin. Okay. And then finally, we'll have a quick overview about slotting and rearrangement. It is something which SAP has given out of standard, but it's not used much. But we will, since it's part of the certification course content, we will go through it in brief, okay, and understand the usage of this and what industry it may be used. So we'll first start with inbound processing. So we did discuss inbound deliveries. We saw an inbound delivery. We were doing good receipts, putaways. Okay. Before I start, yeah, any questions from anyone on yesterday's topic or anything before we go ahead?
Yeah, Rohan,
Mm-hmm. Yes, go ahead.
from the S4 HANA screen, I didn't get how to launch the Fiori.
So what you need to do is go to your remote desktop. If you're not able to access, then you take this link from here, from the worksheet, okay, and you can paste this link into
Okay,
your browser, Chrome browser, and you will get your Fury.
okay. Okay,
And maybe you add this as a favorite so that next time you don't have to add it as a favorite in your browser itself.
okay. Got it. I was searching all around. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. If no question, then let's go ahead. So So we have covered this bit. We have seen the documents. There's some background noise. Please keep your call on mute if you're not speaking. Um, Adayo, please can you mute yourself? There's some background noise from your end. Thank you. Okay. So so we have already discussed about this. Let's do a quick recap, and then one or two things in addition I would like to explain you. So we have seen the deliveries. We have seen an inbound delivery coming to EWM. We do good receipts, and then we understand how the processing works in EWM. So so we would now focus in more detail about the delivery processing. When a delivery is sent to EWM, what are the possible scenarios that can come? It can be some, let's say you want to cancel the delivery, you want to change the quantity, or you want to do a vendor return process. So what are the different scenarios that can arise in a inbound delivery processing apart from just doing receipt and put away? So in terms of receipts, inbound receipt or inbound, see, I would say broadly EWM is, or any warehouse management, divided into three types of processes. One inbound, how you get stock in your warehouse. One outbound, how the stocks are taken out of the warehouse. And one internal movements, which comprises of physical inventory, replenishment, bin-to-bin movement, ad hoc movements, and so on. Okay, so when it comes to inbound, we have different types of inbound. We get inbound from suppliers, we get inbound from production. These are the common ones. Then we also get inbound um, from returns. So if customer has returned any items, we receive them. And there is another inbound where we don't have any we don't have any inbound delivery, and suddenly the product comes in. It's kind of unplanned good receipts. So so we have different types of good receipt processes. So in all the good receipt process, two steps are always mandatory. Okay, in EWM, one is the good receipt posting, one is the put away. You can automate this. You can basically, when you do the receipt, you can automate the put away process, or when you do the put away, you can say good receipt should be automated in the background. But ideally, these two statuses are more important. And so basically, good receipt will add stock into your warehouse. Good receipt will go and update ERP with the material document. We have seen that. So put away will basically take the stock from a GR area to the final bin. So so these are two main steps. But when we go on the actual ground level, when you work in a warehouse, it's not that simple. We also have some additional validated services, uh, for our inbound process. For example, we may the customer would like to track the unloading process. Like the truck is coming, they scan the pallet and they unload it onto the GR area. They would like to look into the deconsolidation. They would like to have a quality process. They would like to have validate services like labeling and preparing for put away, and several other processes, which several other valid steps, which can be also carried out, before we do the actual put away. So like you may have to weigh your parts, and label the weight before you put away, or any, depending on the industry, any number of steps can be added. So what is where EWM is good, or where EWM has an advantage, that you can configure as many process steps as many you want. So it can be 4 steps, 5 steps, but these two steps, put away and good receipt, are mandatory. Okay, and they are basic step, core step. Others are like you may you may have or you may not have. Okay, so some companies, they have like unload, good receipt, deconsolidation, put away. Some may have also quality. Some may have some validated services. So some may have different processes. Like good receipt from production may not go to deconsolidation or quality. Okay, they don't need unloading there. So when we do production receipt, we just do good receipt and put away. But when we do a external receipt, it has 4 steps. In customer returns, it has 2 steps. So in the same company itself, the several inbound can be into different number of steps. Okay, so we can have our own inbound process. We have that flexibility to configure the steps the way we want. Now, when it comes to learning these things, what we are going to do is we will focus in this unit 4, on basic inbound processing. So in EWM also, when you go through your course content books, and SAP material, there are two things that they call, in terms of the topics. One is the basic, the other is complex. Okay, so first we are going to cover the basic inbound processing, which comprises of the receipt and put away, and then we are going to talk about complex, where we are going to add these intermediate steps. Okay, so our focus would be first to complete the understand the good receipt and put away in more detail, and then slowly we will understand the other intermediate steps and understand the, we call that as complex inbound processing or complex outbound processing. So unit 4 we talk about the basic inbound processing, unit 5 we'll talk about basic outbound processing, and then unit 6 onwards we'll start inbound and outbound both, discussion on the complex, how do we activate complex. I mean, when I say complex, I mean, adding multiple steps into your inbound and outbound. Okay, so uh, good receipt, put away. Let's understand them in more detail. Okay, so there is a lot of configuration required in put away strategies, and in your receiving with stock type management and all those things. We'll try to clear the basics first. Okay, so this, no warehouse will go to complex steps before implementing the basics. The first step that we do is implement a basic framework for inbound and outbound. So that's what we're going to do for inbound now. Okay, so in inbound, we have seen, I think it's not new to us, we have seen the purchase order created, we have seen ASN gets created, inbound delivery gets created. Inbound delivery can be created manually. We are using VL31N to create inbound deliveries manually, or you can get a EDI information from your vendor, which will create EDI inbound delivery through EDI. Okay, now that inbound delivery would then get created to EWM, and it will create a EWM inbound delivery. If you have noticed in this system, the number of ERP delivery and EWM delivery is same. Okay, and then we kind of create the warehouse put away task and we confirm the task. So we have seen task getting created here. We have seen how the task gets created, warehouse orders, and how the tasks are getting confirmed on the RF. And we have also seen, how the task gets confirmed on the desktop. So we can also confirm tasks through warehouse monitor. So there are several ways to confirm the task. So in actual business, we'll be using the RF bit. So uh, I would like to mention here, you may not be working. So I would say this is something. See, we are focusing on the embedded version on EWM, and particularly 1909. Okay, so if you go back, let's say if you go into a project where EWM is used as a decentralized, or you have used 1709 or 1709 version of S4HANA, things will be slightly different. Okay, so don't be surprised. So for example, here, if you have noticed, our delivery is 18000, starts with 18, and the same delivery is used in EWM, same number is used in EWM also. But what in older version or in decentralized, you'll have a different number for EWM delivery. It may start from 20 something something, or whatever number range has been set up. So the same deliveries can have a different number range on the EWM side. So that is quite possible. So now in S4HANA, what we say, it's the same system. Why do we need two deliveries with different numbers, right? They are same. So SAP in I think 1809 onwards, they added a config where the same number should be copied over to EWM. So that's what has been activated in standard, and that's what is happening now. But in the older versions, you may not see the same number. Okay, so don't be surprised, they are same deliveries. It is possible to have a different number on the EWM side. Then in the decentralized EWM, I basically at the start of the course I told you, wherever there is a delta to decentralize, I will highlight them. So there is one delta thing here. Once you create a delivery, it creates an inbound delivery here. But in the SCM world, or in the older versions, you will see there will be another document here called inbound delivery notification. Okay, so what used to happen in the previous versions, the delivery were created. Okay, the deliveries were created and they were distributed to EWM. First notification would get created and then it would automatically get converted into inbound delivery. Now this inbound delivery notification was just a replica. See what used to happen in decentralized, you delivery comes here, it replicates it as a, I mean, whatever information, ERP information we need, it comes to EWM, and then from here onwards, EWM config master data are read, and actual inbound deliveries were created. Now this is a technical document. You know, business don't need to know what a notification is because they take the inbound delivery to do the receipt and do the put away. So this document was kind of a technical, parking document of ERP, and then it used to get auto converted, or if it used to fail, we could track it. So it was like a parking document for ERP before it actually converted into inbound delivery. So now, as for HANA, this inbound delivery notification has been removed. You don't see that tab. But in the decentralized system, you will see a tab here, additional tab, inbound delivery notification. You don't have to use that in your processes. Let me log into this. You don't have to use that in your processes. It's just a kind of a technical document. Replica first gets created there and then it gets converted into a inbound delivery. So don't get confused. There is no configuration. There is no business process associated with it. It's just a parking document. Okay. So if you see here, it's a inbound delivery, and then there used to be another tab here, inbound delivery notification. So in older versions, if you work, you'll see that tab. Okay. But the process is same. You do the receipt, you do the put away. There is no change into the process. Okay. So here you can see it's the same number. So basically, if you see this number and you're searching a EWM delivery, you get your delivery. Okay. But if your ERP, you have a different ERP delivery number, you can search it from here. This is your ERP delivery number. It may or may not have the same number in EWM. Okay. So in S4HANA, I think we use the same numbers, to keep it easy in terms of identifying your right delivery. Okay. So um, so now we did speak about the documents that are created, good receipt document, and the it gets updated in ERP as a middle document, then warehouse task. So now let's focus on the other scenarios that can happen. We have seen how a receipt takes place. I'll show you some more variations of receipts. Okay, and I'll also show you some of the uh, exception situations that can arrive in a receipt process. But the next few slides are just what we have already covered, how we can create a task and confirm it. So basically for a PO, we create a delivery. The delivery, we got a message that it's distributed to EWM, and then we post the good receipt. We'll see now the other variation of good receipt. We do the good receipt through RF. Okay, and then there is this metal document getting posted in ERP, and you can see the total goods movement become C, and then in the final once we configure the final complex process, this task we are creating manually, this task will be automatically created. System will automatically determine a bin. But for testing purpose for now, we are creating the task manually and giving the bin manually. Slowly we'll automate that as well. So once you confirm your put away, the next step is to look at your delivery details in the warehouse monitor, and you can see your stock will also get updated into the bins, into the final put away bin. So another thing you should be aware of is the um, status of task. Okay, so we have discussed about monitor. So here you can see you can confirm the task. We saw through RF, but using this inbound delivery node, you can also click on warehouse task and you can confirm the task in the background. Okay, so this is also possible. You can confirm from here also. Okay, so it's like a desktop way of doing it. If in case some RF is down or something has gone wrong and you need to catch up in the system. So confirm, the task gets confirmed, the delivery gets completed. So that's the final step. So every inbound process ends with put away. Okay, so it may start with good receipt or it may start with unloading. Starting can be anything, but the moment you complete a put away, your inbound process is completed. Okay, I'll also talk about outbound. When you start picking in outbound, the picking is always the first step. Your end may be staging, loading, whatever, but picking is always your first step. Okay, similarly now inbound, whenever you receive the parts, you put away. When you say put away completed, all your steps are completed or your inbound process is completed. Okay. Now, one thing you should be aware of, and I want you to track that in warehouse monitor also. Always when you are working or testing delivery, keep your monitor screen open and observe what is happening, for your deliveries, for your task. So one thing you'll observe is, there are four statuses of task, or rather five status of task. Okay, so when a task is open, the status is blank. Okay, if you cancel the task for some reason, the status becomes A. If you confirm the task, the status becomes C. If you will see, some resources working on the task, it will have a status D. Okay, B is also a status. We'll see that in our further processes. B is possible when B is possible when there is some system prerequisite, before the task gets confirmed. So there is a prerequisite step before you actually confirm the task. Okay, so we will we'll see that in our later sessions how that waiting task is created. So you should be well, this these tasks should be clear with the status of task, because you'll use that for your monitoring and identifying which is open, what is the status, what's going on. So you should be you should remember this thoroughly, the statuses of task. Okay, so now if all the tasks have status C, that means put away is completed. Okay, put away is completed means warehouse activity of the delivery is completed. Delivery is completed, I will say. Delivery processing is complete. So delivery can have several status. See, delivery also has status. Why it is very important to track status is because I think those who have worked from SD will correlate. In SD we do a lot of, even in MM we do a lot of status tracking. We need to know, like how many deliveries are open, or partially completed, um, and the ones which are completed, how many did we complete. So a lot of tracking happens on a day-to-day basis based on the status of your deliveries of your task. So task status update is very status information is very important. So see, if you go and search inbound delivery, you'll not search for the deliveries which are closed. You'll always search for deliveries which are open or in partially complete status. End of the day, you will see all the partially completed. Why they are partial? Why they were not fully completed? Okay, whether the supplier sent us less material, or the clerk did not follow the process well, or the product got damaged. You will be interested in those partially completed one at the end of the day to see what has gone wrong. Okay. Okay, so the stock goes into the bin. You can see the stock in the warehouse monitor. You can also see stock in the storage bin screen. Okay, and here are the two mandatory status: good received and put away, and they are also completed. Okay, your warehouse activity, once you complete a put away, your warehouse activity status also gets completed. Okay, so I will go through some of the things which we couldn't discuss, and we will then slowly talk about the um, okay, we have already spoken about task. We'll talk about the other exceptions that can happen during delivery processing. So let me take you through some more details about this delivery screen and some variations about receipts and some additional information about these transactions. Okay, so this is a delivery transaction. In EWM, you'll have a similar delivery transaction in outbound as well. Okay, so this is the header data. You have all the header information here. So basically, what we say is, this is a list view, and we click here and we say form view. So somebody tells you to open the form view, that means you have to open it this way. Or if you want to close this, appear in a list, you can see it in a list view as well. So all the status information is here. Okay, shipping office. If you remember, shipping point we created as a good receipt office. We in the shipping supply chain unit we gave that status of a GR office, and outbound we gave shipping point. For outbound we gave it as a shipping office. Okay, so the same is used here in the delivery. So just make a note, like you have a document type in purchase order, order type in sale order. Similarly, EWM has two things here: document category, document type. Okay, so always keep a track, what document type, document categories are being used. We'll be covering the integration or mapping of this as we go ahead in subsequent sessions. Okay, so there are some transportation related information here: which door, which vehicle, which truck, trailer, you know container, from how the products came, the Incoterms related information. So a lot of information which is applicable for all the products. Okay, now this is the header information. The header information continues. This is also header information. Okay, this is the delivery status. These are the items in the delivery. These are the date and time related information. All the timestamps gets recorded for your delivery level. Okay, this is the location. What are the, if you remember, we created, I've explained to you briefly about location. In the SCM, every attribute, any object which has address gets created as location. So what are the locations involved? You can see their addresses as well. What are the partners involved? What is the reference document of ERP? Which ERP system? If you remember, initial days I showed you business system. I was explaining you business system. So I showed you this is the business system. So you can get that information, the reference thing, quantity, weight, volume, you'll find it here. Text information, list of all the handling units, you'll find it here. If it's assigned to a truck, the truck related information you will find here. See, delivery has a status, whether it is blocked or it's green. So you can also see the if it's blocked, why it is blocked. You can see the error message over here. PPF is similar to your output management, like you have delivery outputs, purchase order outputs. They are replaced with, I would not say replaced, but there is similar functionality called PPF in EWM. You can find it here. Okay, so these these all tabs are for all the items, but if you want to see similar information for each item, you go to the items tab and then you can scroll down and you can open this window, and it will give you all the information for that particular item. So what is the good receipt document number, good receipt task number, what is the put away task number. Okay, so you can get all the information, timestamp, when what happened, okay, who did it, everything gets recorded detailed in a detailed way. Okay, date, time, locations, partner, everything. See here in the reference you'll have more information about the purchase order also. So delivery can be for more than one purchase order, right? So there can be another item for another purchase order. So the purchase order is an item relevant reference number, reference document. So you see that at item level. Okay, you will see serial numbers involved, text, you will see the any changes to the quantities have been made. you'll see any if there will be hierarchy of items. Okay, like you have a main batch item, there is has a child items. You will have kits, where you'll have a header item and a kit. You'll see all that hierarchy over here. Any dangerous goods, hazardous material, you will find the relevant information here. Okay, so this inbound delivery or inbound delivery screen in EWM is divided into three sections. Okay, this is header, and this is also header detail screen, and this is the item detail screen. Okay, so as I said, all this information is useful for us consultants. It is there in the system. We should know what's happening where, and whenever we are writing FS, what if I want to track any status, I'll say okay. Okay, you when the DCO status gets completed, so and so code, I'll give my ABAPer to write. But for a business, they don't really. It is too much information for them, so they prefer the warehouse monitor, whatever information they need for their delivery processing. It's easier for them to use warehouse monitor with less information. They get simply lost with this. It's too they feel too complicated. Okay, the screen. So we created a delivery. We did good receipt put away. Now I'm going to show you another way of good receipt. Um, the next way of good receipt is we can do a good receipt through RF as well. Okay. So for example, let's say this delivery. Okay. Or any delivery, you can do the receipt on the RF. Okay. And in RF, you need to have handling units. Handling unit is mandatory for posting good receipt in EWM. Okay. Through standard RF, you can build your own custom RF where you can say no, we don't need handling units. We are a very small company. We don't use handling units and all those complex things. Okay. So now what are we going to do? We are going to take this delivery. Okay. Go to RF. See, anything you basically whatever we are doing on desktop, you can do it on RF. Okay. So make a note, always you need to test that particular step on RF as well. Okay. So for receiving, we'll say receiving of handling units, receiving by delivery. I enter my delivery number. Okay. See, there are different other menus. You can receive by shipment, TU, ASN, the vendor ASN number, which gets stored here, as a ASN number. So when we create a delivery in VL31N, we can enter this is our inbound delivery number, but vendor ASN number, we can store it here in the external ID field, and that can also be used as a reference for posting the good receipt. Okay. So for now, I'm using the inbound delivery number. So now the warehouse worker, he has scanned the delivery. Now he'll see which handling unit is there, and he's going to pick that handling unit. Let's say this is the handling unit he's supposed to do the receipt. He'll scan the handling unit. System shows him, what are the products. There is one buyer basket. There are 18 buyers basket basically, to be precise in this. So you can see all the information here. I'm bring drop down and the HU number, the child HU. So this is the carton. Sorry, the one which I scanned is a carton. This is the delivery, and in that carton, there are 18 wire basket. You can see all the wire basket information. The quantity is 50. It is going to GR bin, but you can also see here is it is having a stock type. This is what we are going to learn in our next topic of availability group. What is stock type? But yeah, I mean the quantity, the bin, everything is okay. You just come here and say PGR to post the good receipt. So wait, okay, it's saying it's already being received. I'll take the next one. So when it gets received, this status, cross status gets set. So this was already good receipted. So I'll say, okay, let me go and pick the next one, receive the next one. So this one is not received. So I'll do a PGR. Okay. See, basically, when you do a good receipt, so it is going to update, so this RF, when you do a receipt in EWM, you will see the status changes from A to B. Okay. So let's see, whether that we have done receipt on RF, whether it's updated here or not. So this has been received. Okay. And then we also need to see whether it updated in ERP or not, right? So good receipt, the deliveries are always in sync, ERP and EWM. So I did a receipt of one handling unit. So whether the same receipt got posted in ERP or not, let us see. So we are doing several receipts for this delivery. So I'll show you, what for today's date there will be a receipt. See, today's date there is a good receipt posting which we just did. Yeah, it is just this good receipt for today. It's a different number. Why it is showing 31 here? Better to see it in MB51. Yeah. In MB51 you can see your material documents. So what are the postings made today? You can find them here. So now I don't see any posting. So is it stuck in queue or what? We'll see. Just give me 1 minute. I feel, what is the system time? Is it US time? And it's kind of, it's the current time is, but yeah, it's India time zone. So it should have posted. I mean, why it is strange for me. I think this, I need to look into it because here in the material document it is showing the date. We see here it is showing today's date, but when you display the document it is showing 29th. That is what is surprising for me. Okay. So how do I check? Yesterday I think we did post yesterday. Let me. So if this is yesterday's, where is today's? Let me have a look again. So from RF it reflected into EWM, the status became B, but it hasn't updated ERP yet. It hasn't failed in queue either. I'll try to find it through another way. So if the receipt is posted, it should appear in this packing thing. Okay, you know what? Let's do it from scratch. Let us create a new purchase order and test this. there is too much information in this delivery, too many handling units, and we have been using it for quite some time now. So let me create a new purchase order and let us test it from scratch. Okay. So we'll create a delivery and we will post the good receipt again through RF. Let me take a small quantity here now. Oh, let me take 20. We'll take 2 deliveries today. One, I'll show you another variant of receipt. Okay, I'll copy this, create my new delivery. So this time, let's say this came from vendor. So I'm going to enter vendor ASN number. Let's say ASN number this. Okay, this is vendor ASN number. 1065. This is the inbound delivery number in vendor system. So I'm going to use that as my reference for receipt. Okay. So I enter quantity 10, stock placement, and I'll enter my store location as 2000, and I will save it. Okay. So now the delivery is created, ASN is created, and then let's go to the RF again. Go back F7, F7, F7. So when we see delivery by ASN now, ASN, this is the vendor ASN number. We'll scan the ASN number in the vendor's document. So vendor would have given us, delivery note, a printout with the material. In that they would have their delivery number, ASN number. So I'll take that ASN number from the delivery note. I'll put it in the scanner, and system will tell me what is the delivery, EWM delivery for that. Okay. I'll go inside. I'll select the handling unit from list. You can see your handling units here. I'll go and do the PGR. Complex unloading cannot be handled. So, okay, now I know what's the problem. It's in red, right? So if you remember, we are coming here and manually. So this will be our next thing, we have to sort this out. We don't want to come all the way here and put the GR zone always. So we'll do a config today, to stop this. Yeah. Right after this, we'll do the config. So if you see here, the ASN number has been updated, and now we are receiving through vendor ASN number, and system knows which delivery is belongs to. Okay. And now let me try doing the GR again. You have to come back in and go back. F7 by ASN. I'll select my handling unit, scan my handling unit, whatever you can say, and then I'll do a PGR. Okay. So now this is the delivery. Now let us see whether it has updated EWM. First EWM we need to see. So I'll enter my delivery here, execute. There's just one handling unit. The good receipt status has changed. It is update completed. HU status is B. It also says it's completed. Stock is in GR zone. Now let us see whether it has updated or not. In the ERP side, yes, it has updated, and we can see here a good receipt document has been posted. I think it's the, okay, now it's coming up correctly. Document date is this. It is taking posting date as different. Maybe it could be, there's the time zone that we have for our warehouse is US, but the time zone if the system is India. So just don't worry about this difference. Ideally, they will be the same. Okay. So we could now be able to post a GR through a scanner. Okay, so scanner did nothing, it's just a different interface of you pressing a good receipt. Okay, so now we'll do the put away. We have seen put away, and we can create a task and confirm it into the bin. So I'll create a task. What we have seen creation of tasks. Why not? We see something different here. Let's say this delivery is has been good receipted. Now, the warehouse worker calls me. She'll say, "Hey Rohan, I received this delivery, but when I opened the box, it's damaged, so I've sent the vehicle back. So, can you cancel this delivery for me?" We'll say, "Okay, the receipt is already done." So, always remember in SAP, all of you have some sort of experience in SAP, you might be knowing this. Always the reversal follows the reverse steps, right? So, our first step was delivery creation. We did the good receipt. Now, if I want to delete the delivery or cancel the delivery, I'll have to reverse the good receipt first. Okay. So now he calls me, "Hey, just cancel this please for me." So what I will do? So how do we reverse a good receipt and how do we cancel a delivery? That is the next thing I'm going to show you here. Okay. So reversal is very simple. You just come here in the drop down. You say reverse good receipt. So what is the movement type for good receipt reversal? Can anyone tell me?
102.
102. So it should get posted in ERP with 102. Yeah. Let's confirm that. See, goods movement status is still C. Mm, let's wait for a minute. Oh, so I think that's a problem. Let's see the status here. You can see a good receipt document has been posted and the movement type is 102, right? So I will reinstate every movement type, every material document will only be posted from EWM. Okay. So I initiated this from EWM only. So we did the good receipt, we reversed the good receipt, and now the status should ideally get back to reset it to A. I think there is some SAP note I need to find out. It's not getting resetted here, it's still C. But yeah, I think you can see that at item level, it is still showing C. It should be A because we reversed it. Okay, so I need to see why it is not getting resetted. But in your production system actually, or in your customer system, you'll see the status changing back to A. Okay, so we did the GI reversal. Now, what do we learn? How do we reject a delivery? How do we cancel a delivery? Now you can see inbound deliveries, they are grayed out here. I cannot go and change them. See, if I go and change, it tells me that delivery is distributed. You can only display. That means if I want to cancel a delivery, it has to be from EWM only, right? So how do I cancel delivery from EWM, inbound delivery from EWM? I will say reject. It is telling me, what it is telling me? It is telling me unloading is completed. So when I did GR on RF, this status also got set unloading. If I do on RF, this status also gets set. So when you do F2 uh, unloading also in the back, you do a GR in the background, it assumes that you've already done unloading. So what I'm going to do here, unloading, I'll reverse unloading, right? Simple. Reverse GR, I could have reverse unloading. Now this unloading is just a status thing, right? It doesn't do anything. In simple, it's a simple inbound process. Unloading is just for status. When we do complex, unloading will create a task, or there'll be a lot of technical things happening. We'll see that later. For now, I just want to cancel this delivery. Something happened, right? So everything is completed, and you can see the delivery quantity became 0. And if you see in the ERP side also, it went on and updated the delivery quantity with 0. So don't get confused with deletion and 0 quantity. Both are one and same. Okay. So now this delivery is cancelled, deleted, whatever you say. See, what happens is EWM does not delete or does not allow you to delete the data delivery directly from database. You can change the quantity to 0, which is equivalent to it being cancelled or not being used. Okay, or it will when you so we have purchase order quantity was 20, we created delivery of 10 and we cancelled it, right? So now again when you create a delivery, you'll see open quantity is 20. Okay, that delivery is 0. You will see that, but you don't necessarily delete it from a database, like how you would create a purchase order and delete it, and you don't delete it that way. Okay, once it is distributed, you can only change it to 0, which is equivalent to deletion or cancellation. Okay, clear so far?
Yeah, Rohan.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Rohan.
Yes, go ahead.
Can we? So we have deleted it. I mean, making it to 0 quantity, right? But does it appear in confirmation having purchase?
Mm-hmm. Okay, what is your opinion? It should come or not?
Since it is in the database, I think it will appear
It will come,
clearly.
yeah? It will come. That's correct. Let's reconfirm that, okay? Okay, it's gone. I think it's the same delivery, same purchase order. Yeah, it's same. It's not showing. And I feel it should be there because we processed it. No, it is going away. But yeah, you can see your GR and reversal. But yeah,
Oh,
the it goes away from your confirmation tab. Ideally, it should be there with 0 quantity. But yeah, I think it doesn't store standard SAP.
okay.
Okay. So now, mm, so now, I would like to spend the next 15-20 minutes on another variant of receipt. Okay, which is a Fury way. A new way of doing receipt through Fury. So now, why I'm saying Fury, because SAP, see, this is the desktop thing, right? You go to PRD and do the GR. But what SAP has done, as I told you, SAP has introduced a lot of new Fury application. One of that application is to create delivery and to do the good receipt put away through a new Fury app. Okay, so that's again SAP's thought process would be, see, is here, like creation of inbound delivery. You can see so much data here. Doesn't really matter, right? Person who is creating delivery, or I'm creating delivery day in day out, I'm a delivery creation guy. For me, the delivery status, quantity, store location, only that matters, right? Nothing else matters. So SAP has created simplified apps, where you can create your deliveries, looking at the status. Okay, and what I will do here is, before I go and create a delivery through Fury app and do the good receipt through Fury app, let me save this. Okay, so now before I go and create a delivery through Fury app, do the GR through Fury app. So let me, resolve this issue. Why all the time we need to enter GR zone bin here? Can this be automated? I want to automate this, storage bin here. Okay, this is showing as GR zone all the time. Sorry, this is coming blank and my deliveries are going into error all the time. I need to resolve that before I test my next delivery using Furies, right? So Fury, the same thing I'm going to perform, but different look and feel. Like it will be like a browser based, less data, and a new look altogether. And you can do the good receipt. You can do put away through that as well. We'll see that, but before that, let's see why this bin how this bin can be automated. Okay, so so for now, just let me give you a quick recap. If you remember, we spoke about unloading. There are different bins in the GR area where the parts will be staged, right? If the truck comes, the truck will place the part. There'll be several bins here. There'll be several bins in the GR area. The truck, as I showed you the diagram, the door, the truck items will be removed, placed here. So there are several bins here. But that setup of doors, bins, we are going to use that, or basically it's unloading. We'll use that in our complex put away, complex inbound process. Okay. So now we are doing simple. So in my simple process, I only want one bin here. I do the GR, I do the put away. Okay. So now, uh, is there any parameter based on which I can default this GR zone bin through for all my inbound? Yes, there is one parameter, which is warehouse process type. Okay. So what is warehouse process type? It is similar to your WM movement type. Okay. Or like how we have movement types in MM. They control a lot of things, right? What is the uh, movement type controls? What is the how the which account should be hit. Apart from that, which stock should be updated, right? So all the controls of that particular material document are managed at the movement type level, right? Where should update, what kind of process it is, all are basically managed through movement type, right? So in EWM, similar to that, I'll not say same, but very very close function is of process type. So what process type does? Process type tells me whether it's inbound or outbound, whether it's from process type knows it's a inbound, so it is taking from GR area or whatever bin is mentioned here to the final bin. So there are a lot of settings about the put away task that gets created. You can control a lot of things at a process type level. Okay, so like every material document in ECC has a movement type. Similarly, every task in EWM has a process type. Okay, it controls a lot of things, something like a movement type does in a material document. Okay, so what I will do here is I will create my own process type. See, standard SAP showing me Y114. I don't want to use that. I want to create my own so that I can do my own configuration, and I can say, I want to have GR zone as my bin. Okay, so we'll come here, define process type. What I will do, WH35. I will say Y114. I want to copy that and create my own. I'll give a code, say 1010, and I will remove the storage process thing, whatever it is for now. And I will say always the bin is 9010. The source bin is 9010 for this moment type, and the bin is GR zone. So if you do this configuration, always when process type 1010 will be used, GR zone bin is going to come. Okay. Now we created a new process type. So whether this process type will be picked up, there still system will pick Y114. See, we copied Y144, but we have to tell system somewhere, that don't pick Y114, pick Y1010. Where do we do that? We do that in the determine process type. Okay, so here if you see WH35, if you remember in the inbound delivery there's something called as document type. Okay, this is the document type INB. Yes, for my document type INB, system is my configuration is it should be Y114. I am replacing that with 1010. So my next delivery will have 1010, it will have GR zone. Okay. Now what I want you to also make a note here, there are other parameters which based on which a process type is determined. See, we did copy process type, we didn't see into other fields. We'll come to other fields, as we go ahead. We'll understand, the different indicators. It's too early, but as of now, we are just, trying to create it so that, we going forward, we have our own process type where we can go and make changes as per our requirement. Okay. We don't want to use the standard one. So what I wanted to make a note here, there are other parameters based on which this process type gets determined. Like you have document type, you have item type. So here at the item level, if you go to your delivery, every item has an item type. Here in the bottom, you will see it has item type IDLV. So here it's blank. That means for all item type it is used. Deliveries have priority. In VL31N, when we create a delivery, we can give a priority for high, medium, low. So as of now, not maintain any priority. We are not using that for now. So we are not maintained it. See, a process type can be different based on products. So so for product Y1, product which has indicator Y1, system will pick Y113. Product which has indicator Y2, it will pick Y430. Okay. But in case if the product doesn't have anything, it will pick 1010. So in our case, our product does not have any put away control indicator. We'll reconfirm that. That is process type determination indicator, sorry. Okay, so you can do a quick test to see whether the process type, the process type determination. If you maintain Y113, if you maintain Y1, then Y113 will be determined. If you maintain Y2, then Y430 will be determined. If you keep it blank, 1010 will be determined. So we can control the process type determination based on product as well. Okay, fair enough. So now this is the delivery. Okay, now let us look at the Fiori app and see. Let me see if we need to refresh. It's still working. Let me log in. Okay, perfect. So let's go back to the. So now we need to first create delivery. I'm going to show you a new innovative Fiori app, which does the same thing as VL31N, but it's a lot more simplified. So the new Fiori app is create inbound deliveries. Yeah, this one. See, it's totally different. Okay, so I'll say filter. There is no filter here, but you know why it is not showing me all the purchase order which is due for my plant. So what I will do here, I'll come here and say settings, default values. Now I'll enter my warehouse WS35. Save. Say go. You can see system is giving me a work list of all the purchase orders which are due for today's date. So this is today's date. This is the purchase order. If you want, you can open the purchase order in this Fiori app. See all the details. This is the ASN number, quantity. You know, you can see the quantity. If you want, you can create a delivery for 10. And here you can see in VL31, and you can't see, but here you can see this. There's a delivery, past delivery with 0 quantity it has found out. Okay, so now you can come here and you can say click this, and okay, I think we need to go inside only to create. You can click this and then change the quantity if required. Maintain the ASN number, ASN. See, so simple it is, nothing else, no other information. You maintain your master data is fine. 6502. It will create delivery. I want to create quantity 10. Okay. Compare this with VL31 and users will definitely like this, isn't it? Select that item and say create delivery. When delivery created, you can see the delivery number here. Yeah, it has a different number range, the one which I created in Fiori. You can click this and go to change inbound delivery. So this is another app, change inbound deliveries. Okay, so here you can see you have this item, and if you want, we can create HU here, do the packing, enter the packaging material like wire basket or something. Okay, let me enter something. Number of HUs 1, quantity to be packed 10. I'll say okay. So I can create handling units also here. Okay. If you want to see the HU that has been created, this is the handling unit that has been created. The HU number is 800185. Okay, now you select this and say good receipt. So now as the good receipt posted, has the good receipt now posted for the delivery. Let us see the purchase order itself, right? Whether it has created a delivery correctly and updated the receipt. Purchase order history. You can see another receipt has been posted, and this time you can see a new delivery 106502 has been created. A different number range has been used by Fiori app. Okay, so now you can do the good receipt through Fiori. Isn't it simple? If somebody is not using RF, this is another way they can see. Any customers that we are going with the S4 HANA, we don't show them. See, there are some project level decisions that are made. Like if you want to, we say, see, if it's a greenfield implementation where we are doing from scratch, we prefer to do everything on Fiori apps. Okay, but if it's a migration from, if the company is already using ECC and they are migrating to S4HANA, there is some sort of reluctance to go to Fiori. They say, okay, not all, but wherever we feel, we'll adapt Fiori. But at the project level, the decision is made whether to use GUI or not use GUI at all. I've been into projects where there was a strict decision made, no GUI at all, only Fiori apps. And yeah, it did work well. There are projects where customer had been using GUI. They said we don't want to use apps. GUI is much faster and all those things, and then we are used to the screens, and then they continued using it. So whatever approach that project takes, you can propose this transaction. Ideally, going forward, the future is this transaction. So if the companies, if you are implementing, always suggest the Fiori apps in S4HANA. See, the only challenge is, it has everything, the desktop transactions have everything. And here it has, the most, the important things, right? Like you can also do a reverse GR, but you cannot do a reverse unloading here, right? Like we had to reverse unloading because we did an RF thing. So not everything is here. There are a lot of things which will come up slowly here. But yeah, I mean, but if the warehouse processes are simple, and they don't foresee anything, once a while going into PRDI is fine. 90% of the time they still use in this transactions, Fiori transactions, it's still okay. Okay. So now I'll say create task manually. I'll say put it into bin 8005. I'm creating task manually because my strategies are not in place. To one, okay, let me say O1 bin, continue. So now I'm creating the task through Fiori. One task created, and here you can see your task, and I'll confirm it here itself. And say this is a task. I'll say task in background. Done. So now if you go back, continue. Okay, so now let's go and check our delivery in EWM, whether it has been processed completely or not. Let me go to warehouse monitor. Okay, the delivery was completed, warehouse activities completed, Putaway is completed. Yeah, this is the SA number, Putaway is completed, and also the good receipt would have been completed as well. Yeah, I'll select this, and I want to see what task it created. This was the task that created, and it went into this bin. Status got C confirmed, and here are the different statuses that I was explaining. Okay, so this is how and yeah, did we notice the delivery, what process type it came with? It should have come with 1010, otherwise we would have got that GR zone error. So let's confirm that as well. So this is warehouse task. You can see 1010 process type, and let me check the delivery. In the delivery also, the process type came as 1010. Okay, and the GR zone bin came from the process type config. Okay, so this is how you can configure to automate your goods movement bin, and the same you can see that in getting populated in your delivery. So do these steps for your warehouse. Come to a stage where we are now. You should be able to receipt through Fiori, through RF, and through desktop, and you should be able to do the putaways, and you should be able to use warehouse monitor to see what all happened with your delivery. Okay, so get used to this processing. When delivery processing, try 2-3 deliveries, receipt, reversal, put away, and all those things. If at all, for some reason we have created a delivery, and if you want to change the quantity, okay, so again, if there is some delivery and if some quantity has to be changed, let's say this is a delivery, when you actually received it, you got 9002 quantity. Okay, so again, we cannot, you over received it where a supervisor called you and told you, hey, I got more quantity. How do you change the quantity? See, if you have to change the quantity, you have to change it in EWM. Okay, you cannot change it in ECC, because we saw in one delivery, the status does not allow any changes. So if I want to change the quantity, I use this process code with quantity adjustments I001, say 2 pieces more, and you can see the quantity got updated now. And system recorded that process code here to give me information who changed and when. Okay, so quantity, if you see here, everything is packed, so it will not allow me to reduce the quantity. If at all, you create a delivery and you haven't packed it or haven't received it, and if you want to reduce the quantity, let's say vendor gave you short, you can do the same thing, -1. Okay, it becomes 9001, save it, done. Okay, so you can use this process code thing to change your quantities. Try reversal, GR reversal that I've shown you. Try quantity change, try cancellation, or GR reversal for your deliveries. We will see some more scenarios in delivery processing in our next session. So next session we are going to talk about availability group. Okay, so today we spoke about inbound delivery processing, and you need to try these things, yeah, and you wanted to try GR and put away. If you are, see, when you are comfortable with the execution, then config and understanding more details will come, you will be more comfortable with those things. So you should be able to do that by Fury, by RF, and by desktop, when I say desktop means ARDI transaction. Okay, these 3 steps you should be able to execute. Okay, you should be able to do the monitor. Um, you should be able to check the delivery status is monitor. So you have to do the monitor thing while you're executing the process, and you have to do the process type configuration for your delivery to automate. So these things you should be able to complete for your warehouse, yeah. Yeah. So next week we'll start a new topic, which is availability group, and then time permits we'll also discuss quality management. Yeah. So any questions before we end for today? Are we going too fast, too slow? Are you all comfortable?
No, Rahul. No, no. I think you're good.
Okay, good then. You all continue with your practice. That's it from me. This was the topic I planned to complete today. So we'll catch up again next week. If you have any queries with your practice, do email me or update in the worksheet. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay?
Rohan, we don't have access for that Excel sheet.
It's there.
No, we were not able to edit that.
Oh, is it? How come?
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, let me have a look. You know why it's not giving you edit access? Let me check. You know, there could be some settings. I'll check and I'll let you know. Or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
try
sure.
after some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay then. All right. Have a nice week and see you all next weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rohan.
Thank you. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Thank you, Rohan. Bye.
Bye.